those numbers on the scale, they don't define who you are as a person. How many times have you stood on those scales or refused to stand on those scales because you were scared or worried or just panicked about what the number would say, and then what that number would then mean and say about you? How often does that happen and continues to happen? The thing is that the standing on the scales and the backwards and forwards with the weighing yourself, and I'm only going to do it when I've done a poo, or I'm only going to do it when I've done a wee, or I'm only going to do it first thing in the morning, or I'm only going to do it when I feel like I've possibly lost some weight and it's saying the very number that I want it to say. It's such a destructive way of living, because ultimately what you're saying to yourself is, this little piece of square machinery defines parts of myself, it defines who I am. And let me ask you a question. When you stand on there and the number doesn't say what you want it to say, and let's be honest, does it ever really say what you want it to say? Because even if it's gone in the right direction, you still want it to go more in that direction. It's never enough. It's never enough. That number is never quite an empowering moment. Or it might be a very brief moment that you have with yourself, but then you're straight back into, right, well, I've got to exercise more, I've got to diet more, because I want that number to keep going in this direction, and it's never ever enough. Listen, I get it. I have been there, back to front, inside out, upside down. There's not one trick that you can tell me that I haven't tried myself with this situation and with these scales. And the relationship that I used to have with the scales was a very complex one. I would move the scales all around the room, all around the house, to get the right perfect level of flooring so that it gives the most accurate reading. And then if it didn't give me the reading that I want, because it never gave me the reading that I wanted, I would move it into another room, and I would like start chasing my house around trying to find the perfect piece of flooring so that it would give me the right answer. And then I suddenly realised there is no right answer, because whatever the answer is on this machine is never going to make me feel good. Because even if it's gone in the right direction, like I was talking about before, it's never enough. It's never enough. You're always going to want more. So that's the issue with the scales. It is never a representation of who you are. It's just a number. That's it. It's a number. It's information. I say this quite a lot. It's just information. But it doesn't need to say a whole host of things about who you are as a woman. Your weight is your weight. It is not defined by what lives in your heart, by what your values are, by where your integrity is. It doesn't say anything about that. It just says what you weigh. And then you make that weight mean so much. Be rid of it. The truth is, for a long time I didn't go on the scales because I just didn't want to subject myself to that. And I was a lot happier, by the way. But I worked and I worked and I worked, and I kept telling myself this mantra, you know, I'm big into my mantras, of whatever that number says does not define who I am. It's just a number. And now when I get on the scales, I know that it's just a number. So the next time you are scared to go on the scales or in fear of going on the scales, either don't go on them and remove the scales from your life. Just have a really strong boundary with yourself that actually I don't need to weigh myself because it makes me feel like crap. Or get very clear with yourself that those numbers don't mean anything. They don't define who you are, they don't say anything about what lives in your heart, and they certainly don't have the right to tell you whether you get to be happy or sad.